Welcome to the Photographer Show, where we talk to you, the everyday photographers in the photo focus community, about your love of photography and dig into some of the fun, nerdy stuff we all love about the art and craft of photography. My name is Scott Weinkiewicz, and I'm joined today again by my co-host, Lori Novak. Hi, Lori. Are you muted? Are you
Hello.
unmuted? Ah, there you are.
I'm unmuted.
So far we don't have any attendees yet live, but usually they start popping in, so we'll see what happens. So for anybody who's going to be watching live or watching the replay, know that there will be questions that you could ask anytime, and hopefully you'll get some answers. So if you're watching live, there is the Zoom Q&A section where you can actually ask questions. And if you're watching on YouTube, there is the live chat in there. We are monitoring both of those so you can get your questions in. And today we're talking with Gilmar Smith. Welcome to the Photographer Show, Gilmar. Can you tell, if you could share with the world a little bit about yourself?
Well, hello, I'm Gilmar Smith. I'm from here, from Orlando, Florida. I'm a photographer and I'm a Photoshop fan. So I love to sacrifice pixels. And well, I've been doing this for around 8 or 9 years already, and it's all fun. And what I pretty much do and what my style is pretty much like is just fun and do whatever brings everybody a little bit of joy.
That is definitely what I see when I look at all of your work. It's just pure happiness, and you're the sixth person. This is the sixth episode of the show, and you're the only person that we've talked to so far in the category of work that you do, not just the holiday type photos, but just the style in general, which I would actually say, and maybe Lori will agree, maybe you'll agree, but I think it has a lot of Dave LaChapelle type vibes to your work, which he is one of my favorite photographers. So I love seeing when other photographers, give me that same feeling of this bright, cheery, and very unique pieces of work. So we're going to dive in. My first question to you, and this is the same question we ask to every guest, is what was your first camera?
Well, first, let me thank you very much to you and to Lori for having me today. And that's really a funny question because I've said it a zillion times. I never really planned to be a photographer, and I never really bought myself a camera and said like, well, I'm gonna start taking pictures or anything like that. It was my ex-husband. He bought the camera. He never used it. I picked it up and I fell in love with it. At the beginning, it wasn't much about taking pictures. It was mostly about what I could do with the pictures to make them stand out. And that's what I fell in love with and what I'm still in love with. But my first camera was a Canon 5D Mark II.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a pretty.
I'm a Nikon person right now, 100%.
Oh, really?
Yes, 1,000% Nikon. But yeah, that was and the Nikon is just most my choice now. But what I had before, it wasn't my choice. It was what it was available to me at the moment.
So what Nikon camera are you using right now? I'm a Nikon person, as you might be able to tell.
Okay.
I've got a problem.
Nikon Z7. That's what I should.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm currently using a Z6. That's what you're seeing me on right now. I'm using it as my webcam. And then I have my Z7 II on pre-order, just waiting for that to arrive.
Wow, fancy. I haven't tried that one yet. I hope that I get to play with it soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So out of curiosity, what made you switch from Canon to Nikon?
Well, I had my Canon until last year, until the beginning of last year, and it was so bulky and it was so outdated, and it really sucked when it came to ISO.
Mm,
So for whatever that I was doing, I needed something better. But when it comes to my photography business and everything, it was something that I built from absolutely nothing and in the worst time of my life. So it came to a point that I needed to change and I needed to do something better. And I wanted to move mirrorless because I was just tired of the bulkiness of my camera.
mm.
And I was contacted by Nikon, and I got to play with the Nikon C7, and I fell in love with it, and I totally switched to Nikon, and
Great.
that's what I love.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is that before that, I go to Disney every weekend. I live in Orlando. And so my thing was like, I'm taking these super elaborated pictures of my family and my kids, but I don't have those candids like when we go out because I didn't want
Mm,
to carry just a humongous heavy camera.
right.
So what my switch allowed me to do was just like take a step up on my photography, but also just being able to get and take my camera with me everywhere without sacrificing my back.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's a big thing. That it's a big difference in weight and size, of course. But I found that not only am I loving the reduced weight from the mirrorless, which still feels like a real camera, right? 'Cause it is a real camera, but still feels like a hefty camera. Um, but on top of that, I use a spider holster, so I leave it on my hip. So like that, you really don't feel it. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Um,
yes,
so you make a lot of very unique photos, as everybody will see later as we go through this conversation. A lot of very unique photos with bold colors, some with composites. I would say more composites than not, if I'm
yes,
correct.
yes.
Um, so can you share what your planning process is like for some of these? Because as everybody will see, your work is very intricate as far as each and everything going on is very precise. You can tell that
Thank
you thought
you.
about every single thing. So I'm wondering, how do you plan such a thing?
Well, it's different for every single thing. Well, my approach, I started just working with my kids. It's just bringing their imagination to life. So they will be my creative directors. And it started with my boy, and it was like a way for us to bond through art. And now, after many years doing it with my son, I do it with my daughter. And I apply the same techniques when I work with kids, when I work with my grown-ups, especially during this time, during Christmas time. This is my busiest time of the year because I do what I call not your average Christmas card. And I started doing it a couple of years ago, and now I have clients that come every year just because they started a competition with their family members who does the best Christmas cards. So
Right.
with every single one of those clients, it's not just my idea. What I want to do is, what I want to offer is something unique, something that represents them as a family, something that is about them. I know that there are several photographers that do composites and all of that, and they sell the backgrounds and all of that. I don't. They might make a lot more money than me just doing that. But what I always want to offer is something unique. So by the time that they leave, that I give them the pictures, they know that there is nothing out there like theirs. Like they're not gonna send it to
Right.
their neighbors or to their friends, and they're gonna find anything similar between those. So it's pretty much asking them, what do you like? What are you into? What your kids are into? Do you want to do something funny? Do you want to do something more serious? Do you want to incorporate your pets? I have this awesome family that each year we uh, we do a cover of an 80s or 90s rock album.
Nice.
So it's four of them.
That's
It's two
awesome.
kids, one boy and a girl, and then the parents. And last year we did the monthly crew, Girls, Girl, Girls. This year we did the Joshua Tree by YouTube. Let me can I go get it like
Yeah,
really
yeah,
quick?
yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as she's going to get that, I'm going to just mention that. So two of the photos we're going to be looking at today, one of them literally looks like it's in the client's backyard, and the other looks like it's in the client's kitchen. So, like, that's not a fake backdrop. That's as unique and as personalized as it gets to a
Right.
client, right? You're in their property.
yeah, it's just like whatever because everybody does like very similar Christmas cards.
Right.
And you're missing the fun because like when you play in Photoshop, everything is available to you. It's
Right.
just your imagination. So I
Mhm.
love this family because they're the dad is so much into rock and the bands that made him, So he wants to do these kind of things every year, and they show up at my house all dressed up, and it's just so much fun. So this was this year's YouTube Joshua
That's
Ay, ay,
Tree,
ay.
awesome.
and we did individuals, and they put it in the back.
That's so
I might
cool.
have somewhere here the other one from last year, but it's a lot of fun. So every family, they're different. They do like some kids play sports, some kids, are some of them are sick and tired of their kids, especially this year. So it's funny, and it's something that most of us has gone through, and it's fun to put it on a Christmas card. So it's not everybody just matching pajamas and just sitting there by the Christmas tree. It's just bringing a lot of fun to it.
Yeah. So as you've just been sharing, you get all sorts of fun and sometimes odd requests from clients,
Yes.
including album cover recreations. So I'm wondering, what is some of the most out there requests that you've received over the years?
I think that's one of my favorites, the album covers, because
Hmm.
it's not something that I will pick myself, because I always want to do something unique, but it's part of what they want. But then there are some families that they just come to me and they tell me what they like or what they're going to be dressed like. And then they tell me just do what you want, which is
Cool.
amazing if you're a creative. So last week, and I still have the setup in my garage. We did circus. We did a Christmas circus photo shoot, which was odd and different because you don't usually think about Christmas and circus, but it came out fantastic. So we have that. Then we have this family. They wanted to have the kids, and they wanted, and I think it's one of the pictures that I sent to Lori. And the mom was so annoyed by their kids, and they wanted to portray the reality of parenting, and
Yes.
that was
Hmm.
for last year, which is pretty funny. Then this year, with the same family, with that same family, we did another one, and they wanted to incorporate the whole coronavirus theme to it. And so they're going down a mountain, and there is an avalanche, like a snowball coming behind them, and there is a Christmas tree, and their masks, and their toilet paper, and all of that. So it's so much fun. It is, and it's really what I love about my work, and especially this year because it has been so hard and so emotionally. It's been a roller coaster of emotions. So being able to create this work and just do that kind of fun things, it just takes you to another world that is a lot happier and more hopeful than when
Right,
we
right.
start.
You kind of forget
Yeah.
about what's going
Yes,
on. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah.
Awesome. So just to take a quick break and reminder for anybody who's watching live, if you want to, excuse me, if you want to ask a question
Corner,
in the
corner.
Zoom, just just hit the Q&A button and you can ask your question away. If you're watching on YouTube, we're monitoring that as well, and there's a live chat. You can go ahead and ask your question there. So we're going to be getting to your photos shortly. I have two more questions before we do that.
Okay.
So you work a lot in Photoshop. So I'm wondering a few things. One, how much time do you spend in Photoshop for one image? And also at the same time, though, I believe you've even spoken at the Affinity booth at a trade show, if I'm correct. So do you float between Photoshop and Affinity Photo or other software on a regular basis?
I've never used Affinity though.
No, okay.
No, I've
I could,
never. I know one of the Affinity guys because we met in the photography show in the UK last year,
okay.
and I missed so much the photography show this year. Hopefully, soon we can go back there. And I actually had a workshop attendee that didn't use Photoshop and did everything on Affinity. So that was fun. But I've never worked on it. And the thing with it is I have nothing against it. The thing is that I have my workflow already established. That
Mhm.
is to me hard to start over with something new and learn something new,
Yeah.
because time wise I'm already spending so much time putting these pictures together than having to learn how to do it somewhere else. It's just like I don't think that I have the patience or the time or yeah.
Yeah. To be honest, I that's sort of how I am with Lightroom. I'm like 99% in Lightroom for all my work. I barely open anything else. Um, but I've tried to switch to On One completely. I've tried to switch to Luminar completely. I've tried to switch to Capture One completely. Um, and all three actually failed to actually import my Lightroom catalog, but which prevented me from switching in itself. But at the same time, you get so used to that workflow that you've built in that software that switching really does get
Yeah.
complicated. Are you really in Photoshop 100% of the time, or are you
No, I
using
start
anything else?
everything in Lightroom and I end in Lightroom, and is how I started building up my workflow, and is how I start doing everything. I do in Lightroom as much as I can do before I take everything to Photoshop. And
Nice.
obviously, when you're doing compositing work, you have to do a lot of Photoshop. But when I'm doing
Yeah.
portraiture, just regular portraiture, I do most of the things. In Lightroom, just when it comes to color grading and all of that, and then I go to
Right.
Photoshop and then I play with the skin retouching and all of that, and then I go back and finish everything in Lightroom. But those are the two softwares that I use, and I would love to learn and to see what's the difference out there. But it's just like as I told you, it's so time consuming already just being sitting in front of the computer forever than learning something else. It's just like I need to leave.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And even like if you were at some point to switch from Photoshop to Affinity Photo, while they're very similar, the experience is so different that it is going to take days and days to really get used to it, which not everybody has the time for.
Yeah,
So
or the patience, because we get
yeah,
frustrated easily, especially
yeah.
especially us after you turn 40s. Patience are going away, and with the kids at home.
Right, right. No, that's a good point though,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, so I am going to share some of your photos right now. Share screen, and we're going to share this. Just let me know when you see your photos popping up.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, so
so
that was my
yeah.
Christmas card last year.
Oh yeah, yeah. So like the chicken, right? I know it's there for a reason. I'm wondering what is going on here and why. Um, I know that you carefully chose everything in this photo. I can tell you did. So I'm curious why everything was there. And just
Oh,
all that fun stuff.
first, I live in Florida, so I wanted to do something very Florida themed. And one of the inspirations for it was that last year I do the shooting booths, like the shooting areas when it comes to Photoshop or the expo floor. So
Mhm.
Mark Rodriguez and I every year just get together with Kelby One and we put together some shooting areas for the attendees to go and take pictures. So last year, in the one here in Florida, I decided to do something very Florida, and it was this theme. So I wanted to take that theme to my Christmas card. So obviously, I'm partnered with this amazing prop house that is called Spectacular Themes, and it's here in Orlando, and they have pretty much everything that you can imagine. So all these props are from there, which is funny because I have a small car and I can fit all of those things in my car and my kids. So I just brought all of that and I was like, well, I can do something with it. But I was thinking about the fence and I was like, I don't have anything like that. So what I have, those wooden thingies that are actually a floor that I cover my garage floor when I take pictures to make it look like if it was wooden floor. So that's what I use as a fence. But yeah, we wanted to do something very, very Florida swampy, real Florida. So that was the whole theme of the thing. Yeah.
That's so interesting. So I looked at this and I said this earlier when you were going to look for the U2 cover that I could have swore this was a backyard, but it's not a fence.
It's my garage.
It's your garage.
Yes.
So that makes it, that makes it even cooler. The fact that it really does look like a backyard that, you just threw down a background, a studio floor basically, type of thing, and then used a fence, but it's not a fence. And it's not even a sky.
All of that is photoshopped, and my kids are so used to, get into the whole mood and whatever.
They go with you to the props shop too and help you pick out props, and it's amazing that you have that available to you. I mean, like most of us don't have that available to us.
I don't know if they love me or no, they don't hate me. We have a pretty amazing relationship, and it all started in the first time I did a booth for Kelby One for Photoshop World. So we built up this relationship, and it's funny because my daughter goes there and they have inflatables and all of that. And she goes to the owner and was like, can you put this together? Can you do this to me? And they stop doing everything when we go there. They stop doing, and Nora is like the queen. So what I do with my kids is just, I've always, creativity and art and photography has been something so important for me because I have been through hard times and through depression. It has been like what have pulled me out of the dark holes. So I make it a priority for me just to inspire my kids to be creative and just to be as involved as possible in all of these projects. So I have so many pictures when we go there and I have absolutely no idea. And I just tell them, just walk around and pick a theme and tell me the props that you want to take. And then we just fill the card up and then we come home and then we take several pictures. So it's not my idea. It's just not my thing that I'm doing with them. It's something that they're part of and something that they're very proud of because, I print these pics and I put them in my house and they look at them and they have been in several magazines and publications and all of that. And like, that's my son in the cover of like Room magazine behind me. So I think that I'm giving them that tool of creativity that I think that is very, very important for people, especially when we go through hard times.
Definitely.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
If you haven't read the book Creativity Inc., written by one of the CEOs of Pixar Animation, you should definitely read that book. It sort of emphasizes the fact that everybody needs to learn about creativity. It's such a good book, one of my favorites ever. So I'm curious, just from looking at this one, I'm curious about, in all of your photos, do you ever hide Easter eggs? Like a little something that people...
I don't, but I have been, because I wasn't ever before, but now I am a fan of Taylor Swift. And I love the way that she approaches her fans by hiding Easter eggs in all of her videos and her songs and even her interviews and her tweets and all of that. And I was like, wouldn't that be fun if I could do that, something in my pictures? But I haven't gotten to to the item, or I think that is something that I have to really think about it just to make sense of things, because to me it wouldn't make sense just to hide something in there. I think that it has to have like a deeper meaning.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think if you can figure it out, it would what to do. It would be really cool to hide, because like I could see, like, for example, I'm looking at the hair curlers and I'm like, that's a can of soda or something, right? That's
Beer.
what it looks like. Yeah, yeah,
Beer
beer.
cans.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like maybe that's an Easter egg, that like whatever that is, but that's where my brain's going with this. So
Oh, that's
um
yeah.
yeah. Okay, so let's move into this next one.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
this one.
that was this year.
So out of curiosity,
Uh-huh.
what were they sitting in originally before you got them into the bumper cars?
Well, this I put together the picture first, and this is how
Mhm.
it started. I was going
Okay.
through my own stock of pictures, just trying to figure out if I had anything, any item, or anything that I could use to do something fun. And I found these cars that I took the picture. There is a convention every year that is called IAPA, and is entertainment, is the roller coasters theme park and all of that, and it's huge, and it's here in Orlando, and we thankfully get to go every year. We get special passes and we get to go, and my son is obsessed with roller coasters, and he's always around his birthday, so he waits every, obviously this year it didn't happen, but when I went there last year, I saw these cars, these bumping cars, and I had my camera, and I took a lot of pictures of trains, little trains, bumping cars, and all of that, because I knew that I will use them as a stock on my composites. So I had these, and I was like, well, I can do something with them. And I didn't know where to put them. And I was like, well, let's try to put them in a frozen lake. And you're doing things with Photoshop. You can do pretty much everything that you like, because people say, oh, that's not realistic. And I was like, it's
Not meant to
Photoshop,
be.
right. Where I'm not trying to do anything
Yeah.
realistic over here. So I put all the cars together, and when I had everything, is when I set them in an Apple box, and I asked them to
Ah.
put their hands the way that they were supposed to be in there. Like my son, I asked them just look, because I wanted him to use the candy cane, like if it was like a hockey thing, and picking up presents, and then with the other one, because I knew that I wanted to put presents behind on his side, and with my daughter, I mean, I just see her there. She's just a trip. That little girl, she's like, she's like,
She's going to be an actress someday.
oh my goodness, that little girl is something else. I look at her
Yes.
and I'm just like, I'm in big trouble.
You're in trouble. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is crazy. Yeah. So that's pretty
Now,
much how it goes. It's just like you have to well, in my workflow, it's just when it comes to doing things like this, I first put the background, and then I take the pictures of ourselves just to make sure that everything just go well together, and perspective wise, and everything matches.
I love that the candy cane in the background has an Orlando sign on it and it's frozen.
Yeah,
So
it's
good.
funny. Yeah, because that's a sign that where things go. But those are actually props from the prop house, because I go there
Oh.
and I take pictures of their props for them to have them, like when clients ask them, do you have this or that? They can, give them the pictures, but then I have
Mm.
the pictures for myself to use them as a stock. So it's a win-win, because I give them the pictures so they can use them for their business. And for me, I use them as a stock.
So are they? Is that part of your agreement, your partnership, or are they paying
Yes,
you for that? Out of
yes,
curiosity.
yes. No, we have like is a friendship, help each other agreement. I help them with social media, and I have their social media accounts, which sometimes they post, sometimes I post. but they're not very good at replying messages or getting, because they're always busy. And there are two owners, so I'm the one that is answering things, and then I go there and I get whatever I want, and we help each other. But it's a most than a business, we do business together. It's a friendship at this point, kind of family, because
It's
kind
good.
of
It's good to
relationship,
have.
which I
Yeah.
adore. Like, I'm
Yeah.
really thankful for them, and I'm thankful because they haven't just welcomed me as a creative in there, but they have also welcomed my kids. It's part of whatever
Yeah.
they do.
Right, right. All right. This last photo, I
Okay.
have to say, so
Yeah.
first and foremost, you photographed this like a real estate photographer would do. Like the how the level of how high the camera was, how perfectly horizontal it is. You even stage it. Like I would look at this kitchen and look at it and say, okay, what do they probably had like pots and pans or like some decoration above the cabinets.
No, it's
And
my
like
kitchen. I don't put anything on top of there.
but then the other thing is how perfectly you balance the cool to warm tones on the right side of the frame and the left side, because if that door was not open and it was not warm in there,
It will
this
be
photo would
flat.
look very yeah.
Yeah.
So I love the attention to detail you did, even as close, on the tones of the tonality of the image. So that's my take. Go for it. Share yours.
Okay, so this was funny because I live in Florida, and mosquitoes in Florida are annoying at night. So she wanted to have her family picture taken, and she didn't want it have it on her house. So I was like, it's okay, you can come to mine. We can totally put something together. So I put a blue light outside that window. I put one strobe with blue gels, and then inside of the oven, I put another light with an orange gel just to mimic the light coming out, and then another one. I think that it was more yellowish inside of the pantry, and I just tell them to play. What I like to do, and what is a lot easier for clients when doing this kind of work, is just like, as a creative, I always think about stories,
Right.
and when I'm doing a picture, I'm just thinking about story just to evoke emotion and play around it. But when you're working with clients, you kind of tell them, and they just it probably doesn't. There are people that get in it, and there are some other people that don't play. So what I try to do is just tell them behind a story, and I make it long, and I just so her was annoyed of having the kids and making a mess over there. The other one, when you have a teenage boy, you're always expecting them to be more than a teenager, and it's that funny thing that when we're parents, and I'm part of it. I have a teenage boy, and he's just still a kid, and he's growing up. But since you see him that he's taller than me, I'm expecting him to do more than what he's supposed to be doing. So that's the thing about him. It's just like, oh, he's probably she asked him to get something out of the oven and he got burned. Probably you didn't tell him how to do it. So that's the whole thing about it, and just making a story and make it chaotic. And I think that when we do this kind of images, you have to go a step forward and make it crazier and make it and take the story further just to make things funny. And that's what I love about photography, is just that allow us just to live in a story.
Awesome. Yeah, there's definitely a good story going on in this one. That is for sure. How the fire, how intricate or difficult was it to
It
create
actually
that?
wasn't difficult, because when you have already the color coming out of the oven from the strobe, it's really a lot easier just to add the fire in Photoshop. And this fire, which is really funny, I got those fire images like ages, and I think that it was in 2003 or 13 or 2014. that Vongwon, I don't know if you know Vongwon.
Yep.
He came to Orlando, and I helped him on a photo shoot. And all of the people that were there, they Spitfire. They were doing the speeding fire kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I have so many amazing pictures of fire from that time. And those are the ones that I use when I add fire in any kind of images. So it's just blending them. It's pretty easy to do. It's just like putting there, since they were shot at night, it's just the fire and everything else is black. So you pretty much just blend them using screen, and that's it.
That's awesome. That emphasizes the importance of keeping your archive of your older photos safe and accessible, because you never know if you're going to need it. I've done the same with clients where they needed a photo for a website, and I'm like, wait, I have something like that. I know I do. I just got to find it in my Lightroom catalog. But so that definitely emphasizes the importance of that.
Especially when
everything.
I want to do something creative and I just don't know what to do. Just going through those pictures, through those libraries, and it happened with the previous pictures with the bumping cars. I didn't remember that I had them, and I was just scrolling down my library and I found them. I was like, oh, I can do something really cool with this. So and that's the magic of just taking your camera with you everywhere, because I take pictures of everything, and then you can use them in so many ways.
You know what also would have been neat, which maybe it's next year, is you do it with the bumper cars again, but then you have the reindeer. So the bumper car is the sleigh.
Okay. I was like, we don't know for reindeers. I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. Yeah, that would be super cool. Yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I guess it kind of sounded a little morbid when I first said it, but I didn't mean it to. Anyway. I meant it in goodwill. All right. So now the question I'm about to ask you is one that I think would be helpful for any photographers who are watching this that feel like, okay, I have the skills to do similar type of work between Lightroom, Photoshop, maybe elsewhere, whatever it might be. If you feel comfortable sharing, I think it would be helpful for people to know what kind of money could be made from a photo like this. Like maybe if you could just share an average, or maybe just the most expensive image that you've created for clients, what could people be looking at if they wanted to get into doing stuff like this?
Well, you really have to, my Christmas cards is just different, because my Christmas card, I started doing them so long ago. And I feel like at this point, I cannot just raise the price so much, because my clients have been coming, and it's part of their family. It's part of the fight that they have with their other family members who makes the best. So I don't want to lose them. So I'm very busy during this time, but these Christmas cards that I made, I probably should be charging double for them. So it's really different, because I cannot put together, like if I do a composite work for a commercial client, I cannot charge the same that if I do it for an individual. So that's when it comes, and there is licensing and all of that. So when it comes to pricing, I cannot tell you how much should you charge for something or not, because the usage and the type of client that you have is what you have to take in consideration when you're pricing your work.
Yep, totally makes sense.
Yes.
One suggestion for you is, for the people that you have been working with for so long that you don't want to raise the price for, you can keep the price the same and even tell them, like, look, I'm raising my price to this, but because you're a long-term customer, that you're basically family, we've been doing it for 10 years, blah, blah, blah. Your price is staying the same, but let them know that, you have more value, and that if they happen to refer somebody, that person's not getting the same price that they're paying.
I always do that, and I make sure to do that because I cannot. And I'm very attached to my old clients because my old clients are a part of my growth. So,
Right.
but definitely I cannot do that the same with new clients. And the other thing is that with my old clients is the way that I built up what I have right now. So, and you're right. You're totally right.
Okay, so my last question for you is also the same question we ask to every guest is, can you share a tip for photographers about either a technique, something that we've talked about so far, or equipment, something that you might be using on a regular basis that has changed the world for you? Can you share something that everybody who's watching can take away and
Well,
something they can work with?
I'm not a very technical person, even though I teach and do tutorials and all of that. But I think that besides the technical things, when it comes to any software or anything, I think curiosity is our best friend when it comes to creativity, when it comes to learning, when it comes to taking our art to the next step. So what I take the time to do a lot, usually when we feel like we lose our mojo or when we get tired of doing the same thing, because I know that probably all of you have gone through this, that you look at your work and it's like, this sucks. I need to do something else. I don't hate it. I don't like it anymore. I hate it. So I think that what we should do is just take our time, and it is create something for you that you probably are not gonna go and post anywhere. Right. But if you're used to take the sliders to the right, just try to do something taking the sliders to the left.
Nice.
So that's what I try to do all the time, and just take a look at people that do the complete opposites of what I do. Like, I don't do landscape, but well, I'm gonna take a week, and this week I'm just gonna watch landscape photography tutorials. So it's just, while you do that kind of changes, you learn something else that you're not, and you learn techniques that you can you utilize on your work, but you're not used to it. So I get sick and tired of doing the same thing, and that's why when you look at my feed, at my Instagram, and you can see portraits with colors. You can do a lot of bright colors, but at the same time you can see some other ones with muted colors, and then you can see different things, because I get tired of doing the same thing all the time. So that's why I will never be that person that has the perfect Instagram feed with everything that is just perfect, because my head, my life,
same color. Yeah.
I cannot do it. I'm not that kind of person, and I try, and I'm just like, that's not me.
Yeah.
So and I think that for us to grow, we always have to try something different, and it really comes when we're editing, when we're retouching, when we're doing photography. Just try just to step away from what you usually do and do something different, because that's when we grow, and that's when we learn.
Awesome. Very,
awesome.
very well
Excellent.
said. And I completely agree with every single word you said.
Yeah. Excellent advice.
Yeah. So can you share where the photo focus community can find more information about you, see your work, and so on?
Okay, you can find me on Instagram as Gilmar Smith. That will be Gilmar Smith. And then I have another one that is, that's when I try to keep it all, more cohesive. That's Instagram Gilmar Smith Photography. That's the one that I try to be more OCD about it. Then my website is gilmarphotography.com, and then you can find me on Facebook as Gilmar Smith. And another thing, I'm one of the judges representing the United States on the Nikon competition, Nikon photo competition. So we are open until January 25th for entries, and they're amazing prizes. So, and it doesn't, you don't have to submit only if you shoot with Nikon. If you do Canon, Fuji, whatever, you can still submit your pictures. So go there to nikonphotocompetition.com and submit your interests.
Cool.
Awesome. Awesome. That's great that you're so involved with Nikon as well,
Yeah.
to be a judge in one of their competitions. That's so fantastic.
I'm super excited about it. Yes.
So thank you, Gilmar, for joining Lori and I today. And thank you to everybody who watched live and everybody who watches the replay. And we will see you in the next episode of The Photographer Show.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much.